instead, and everyone loves to hate on the Malady. I don't think it's the worst item in the world, but it definitely could use a buff because it's very, very specific. But Stark's Fervor is great. It's got the great aura, giving everyone lifesteal, attack speed, and a little bit of health regen. And I think the armor reduction is good, too, so...
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the item. When I used to play Sivir a lot, that was part of my core build. In fact, I've lamented before that there was this one patch that just nerfed...
I'll be right.
Okay. That nerfed every single item that was a part of my Sivir build. So starting with Chalice of Harmony, Berserker Greaves, Stark's Fervor... I don't remember what the next item was, maybe Infinity Edge or something like that. And it's still good now, but it was stupid good before. I think...
Yeah, if I'm... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think on any team with sufficient physical damage, it's a no-brainer. Someone's got to pick it up.
Yeah, I tend to pick it up because I play Ashe a lot, and I play attack damage Ashe, which I find is the only way to build her, and this really helps you out because the aura stacks on top of what you already get. So you're getting 40% attack speed, which on top of Zeal gives you some ridiculous attack speed, and then lifesteal always helps because you're putting out ridiculous damage, especially with your crit.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I believe it debuffs enemy armor, doesn't it?
It does, by 20.
Yeah, and that is huge. That's potentially the strongest part of it. I don't know, because I don't think the lifesteal... I don't rate lifesteal very highly, but the armor piercing, that is crazy good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you do hate on lifesteal, which is fair, but giving nearby allied champions 20% lifesteal, that means any DPS champion is going to be absorbing a fifth of the damage, which, you know, even early on is going to be 20 damage per hit, which is not nothing, especially with the 30 health per 5 regen. I think it adds up to a fair amount of more life for your DPS champions.
Yeah, 20% is a lot, and especially when you're applying it 5 times at once.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, let's move on. And Will of the Ancients is actually an item that I actually thoroughly enjoy using. I'm not going to say that it's that great, but I like to use it because it's pretty fun. It gives 40 ability power, and it has a unique aura, which gives nearby allied champions 30 AP and 15% spell vamp. And I think spell vamp is fairly underrated. Although you hate lifesteal, and I can see where that comes from, I think spell vamp is really good. Go ahead.
I actually dislike Spellvamp more than Lifesteal, but
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. The thing is, they're good, and they obviously give a bonus, but I'm never convinced that they give as much of a bonus as people attribute. People love those steel items. Like, when they see items with Lifesteal on it, they're like, oh my god, orgasm. And I'm like, guy, it's not that huge. It's like a nice perk on top of, but that's not what you get the item for. It's always how I feel, but I can be completely wrong.
I like to get this item on Morgana especially because her passive already gives you 20% spell vamp, and if you get a ton of ability power, this is shooting you up to close to 40% spell vamp, and she can put out ridiculous damage, especially when she runs in there with her ult and hits like 3 or 4 champions. You're going to get a ton of health back, which you'll need because you'll be focused from all of them, so it just makes sense for people like her.
True.
Yeah, and one champion I use it on that I really thoroughly enjoy it on is Vladimir, because it just makes his Q ridiculous. Along with his pool, 15% additional spell vamp in your pool when you're hitting, 5 champions or 6 or 7 creep at a time is very significant.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like to get it on all my support characters, my AP support characters. It's one of those things where I'm like, okay, I'm playing support, I want to get supporty items, but I really like to get a little bit more AP. How do I get some AP while still supporting my team? Oh, there we go. Just get a Will of the Ancients. It's also not that expensive. I find it very, very reasonably priced, considering what you get.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I agree. And it has a nice item that, certain champs can, like Vlad, for example, the item that builds into it is like 10% spell vamp and 40 AP. And it's only 1,200 gold, so I think that's pretty solid.
I think the thing I like about it is the fact that all of the ingredient components are so cheap. It's just 3 amplifying tomes and paying for an upgrade twice, but the upgrade prices are very cheap. It's not like 1,000 gold upgrade, I don't think. So
it's only like 300 for the first upgrade.
So it's like the sort of thing where whenever I go back to town, or to the base, and I've got a little bit of money, and I don't have enough for a big item. Well, it's perfect, because I can just pick up an Amplifying Tome and know that I'm building towards my Amulet of the Ancients eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So are we gonna go over active auras, or are we gonna save that for a different week? Because I don't have those in any window open.
I think we should...
I say we should wait.
Yeah, save activated items for another topic, because I think there's a lot we can say about activated items in general, even before we get into specifics.
Yeah, we can not include aura activated only, but we can just do activated items or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have our big topic that we're probably going to be talking about till near the end. And I will let one of you two start off and introduce the topic.
Right, well, the topic is jungling. It's something we've sort of promised a couple of times now. We keep seeming to run out, and the reason is it's not something we just want to sneak in there with, like, 2 or 3 minutes to talk about jungling. It's a big, big topic encompassing lots of different concepts. First of all, like, what is jungling? How do you jungle? What is the benefit of jungling? What does that bring to your team? What heroes are good junglers? If you see the other team is probably going to be jungling, what do you do about it? And then once you get to really high levels is, okay, my team has a jungler. The other team knows we have a jungler, so they might be trying to do something funny. So what do we do to deal about that? So it's a big, big, huge topic. And I think, one of the first things to talk about might just be what heroes would be good to jungle. And Reith, I think you had a hero ready queued up to talk about.
I did. The hero I prefer to jungle with is Udyr. Now, because he has stances and no ultimate, it's really good because you have access to any of the 4 skills you want starting out of the gate. But the skills you want to focus on are Turtle Stance, which gives you a shield that absorbs quite a bit of damage. I think it's like 2 hits from Golem at like level 1, and then Phoenix Stance, which is his AoE. Now, I don't know if you guys want to introduce champions first or whatever, but I'm fine with talking all night.
Well, what specifically makes Udyr good at jungling? Because to me, jungling, you have to be able to kill pretty quickly, but also survive damage. Oh, I guess you said, is your Turtle Stance gives you the shield.
Yeah, and when he switches a stance, he gets attack speed. Now, if what I'm loading would load faster, I'd be able to tell you exactly how much it is. But it's like attack speed for 5 seconds after you switch a stance, and you'll be activating Turtle Stance every time it's up. And it has a 6-second cooldown, Turtle Stance, so you're going to be getting that attack speed bonus. And it gives you 10% dodge chance or something like that. It's ridiculous. And do you guys have people you want to talk about?
Well, go ahead, SC.
Go ahead, Cole. No, I don't have that much to talk about in terms of champion specifics. So.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of typical jungle champions that I can think about, and I think the one classic. There's a lot of noise going on somewhere. I don't know if someone's playing with their microphone. The classic jungle champion, the number 1 poster boy for jungling, has got to be Warwick, and I think the reason for that is he's got a built-in lifesteal ability you can use right away. Helps him kill things faster, helps him replenish his health. His passive gives him lifesteal that is keyed off of every hit, so the more you improve your attack speed, the more that passive will trigger, and one of his other abilities increases his attack speed. So it all combos into a guy who can tear things apart pretty quickly and walk away from a fight with a reasonable amount of health. And anytime I see a Warwick who's not jungling, I just have to shake my head because I think that's a hugely, hugely wasted opportunity, and I don't think he lanes very well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with you there. Warwick, 90% of the time, should not be seen not in the jungle. It's pretty much where he belongs. In terms of other champions that jungle, Amumu is one that should be noted as someone who can jungle pretty well. I'm not that great with jungling with him, but I've seen a lot of people who I think they go Tantrum and Despair to help just kill all the creep waves with the AoE. And with Tantrum, he takes less damage per shot. So I know he's relatively effective, but I've seen a lot of people who jungle with Amumu get to level 3 or 4 and then start jungling with him, so they have an okay base to work off of.
Yeah, I've seen both. I think the ones who go into the jungle a little later probably don't have Smite, but I've seen plenty of Amumus with Smite who jungle from level 1, and a jungling Amumu, and I've never done it. I've played Amumu a handful of times, but I think this was before people sort of discovered jungle Amumu, and now I see jungle Amumu all the time, but I don't play him anymore. And I think the strength that he brings is, I think this will segue nicely into the next point about jungling. one of the biggest benefits of having a jungler on your side is to have someone who can come in and do an unexpected gank on any lane at any time. It always makes me cry when someone is jungling on our team, and he's just jungling, and he's hit level 8, and he's never left the woods. That's not how it's supposed to go. You hit level 3, level 4, you get some key abilities on your side, you pop out of the jungle, and you freaking kill someone. Warwick can wait until level 6, because then he gets his ultimate, and it should be an automatic kill. But Amumu, yeah, he hits maybe level 4, he's got a good set of abilities, he picks up his bandage toss, you just jump in the lane, and you destroy someone. And then you go back into the jungle, and you just gank someone every time you have the opportunity, and that's the strength of jungling.
Yeah, it's the same with Udyr. I mean, at level 3, you can grab your Phoenix stance, Turtle stance, and your Bear stance, which is your key to jungling because it lets you come out with the movement speed and then stun your target, which lets the 2 people, or if you're going to go help mid, the 1 person, who are laning against an enemy, it's just going to devastate them because they got 3 champions on 1. There's not much they can do.
Yeah, I thoroughly agree. I mean, so if you can't get a gank, like, if the enemy team is playing as they should, in my opinion, which is smart, slightly defensive, even in the 2v1 lane, if they get hurt especially, you can at least come in for a trade. Like, if there's someone, it's like 2 at the top, 1 in the mid, 1 in the bottom, and then 1 jungling. If the person at the bottom needs help, you can go trade lanes with them. If you can't get a gank, if the 2 people are too full or something like that, I mean, I think that, yeah, if you can't get a gank off, there's still a lot of things you can do, and like Quill said, you shouldn't be in the jungle until level 8 doing nothing. Even if you just have to scare them. Like, just come out of the jungle and scare the shit out of them, and make them go back to their tower and hug that for a little while.
Yeah, I think it's important not to get tunnel vision and just be focused on killing these neutral creeps. If you jungle, you have to have good map awareness. Constantly check the minimap, know what the status of anything is. If one of your opponents is getting low, that's your cue to do something about it. If one of your allies is getting low, maybe, you go and replace them for a little while and let them go back to town.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and that's also... Go ahead, Ryth.
Okay, I say it's even more important for a jungler to have wards set up than it is for the enemy team of a jungler to have wards set up, because how many times will you see a jungler run into a bush because they didn't know that the enemy team was there waiting for them? I mean, you need to have total map awareness, which is one of the hardest parts of being a jungler. So if you can't do it, don't be a jungler, please.
I agree. Wards are crucial, but that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, let's talk about, we talked about, what order, what does that mean, Quill, in the info that you sent me?
I think it's what order to kill the creatures in.
Oh, what order to do the camps in. Okay, I think that depends a lot on what champion you're using to do the jungling.
Yeah.
Certain champs can do, like Shaco, although he doesn't jungle, he usually does blue buff first, like the golem.
Yeah.
And I think, can Warwick do blue buff first? I don't think he normally does. I think he does golem camp.
Yeah, Warwick either will do the wolf camp or he'll do the double golem camp, because I have a friend who jungles and we play together sometimes, and he does Warwick. It's just too much damage and he just can't absorb it fast enough for blue buff. Okay.
And we already talked about the importance of ganking. If you're not out of the jungle by level 8 with like 1 kill or 1 assist or, a tower kill after you push them back and hurt the shit out of them, then I think it's going to be pretty difficult. One thing jungling does do, though, is basically, in essence, it gives you 3 solo lanes. Because you have 2 at the top, for example, and then 1 in the mid, which is a solo lane. They'll hit level 6 fast. 1 in the bottom, which is a solo lane. They'll hit 6 fast. And you will be right around level 5 or 6 when the other champs hit 6 if you're doing your jungling correctly. So it's just... And then when you're fighting against the enemy team, which has 2 at the top at level 4, 2 at the bottom at level 4, you're like, whoop-de-fucking-do, we're about to rape you guys.
And I can't stress enough, get Dragon. If you're a jungler, as soon as you can. As soon as you get the Blood Razor, or not the Blood Razor, whatever builds into it, I don't know off the top of my head, get that and go do... Yeah, get Dragon. It'll be such a big boost early game. 100 XP, 100 gold, what's not to love for your whole team? Come on.
Yeah. It's like a free tower kill, I think. Anytime you, again, with the dragon, we can talk about that for a while too, or the importance of the dragon, but